In this video, I want to answer a question that I get on social media fairly often, and that's, why are Helderbergs so expensive? Before we get into the video talking about the pricing of Helderbergs and why they're so expensive, I want to thank our sponsor. Our sponsor today is Filson. In fact, they sent me this jacket that most of you know, or at least some of you know, maybe not most, but Filson is probably my favorite brand. So, you know, when you see the outfits, the shirts, the boots, the pants, the hats, well, not this hat, this is Helderberg, which you can get too. But a lot of times I wear Filson clothing, and I think it's just because somewhere around 50, I became my dad. And my dad was a big Filson supporter, and I never realized the guy had fashion until I turned 50. So check out the links. If you're on YouTube, it'll be links in the below. If you're on Instagram watching this video, then go to my bio and see the link. But again, I want to thank Filson for being the sponsor of this video. So with that said, let's get into why are Helderbergs so expensive, but only on social media. So here's some specifics why Helderbergs are more expensive. And the first thing is paint. Our paint work is perfection. It's immaculate. It's wonderful. In fact, our paint jobs are better than what you would see on a new Mercedes or a new Bentley, in the fact that the quality of the paint is very deep. The luster of the paint is very deep. And that starts with the preparation, that we do a lot of prep before we paint. And then when we actually do the paint work, it's really a lot of layers of paint and then a lot of layers of clear coat. So we do a very deep paint, so that paint will look wet and fresh like the day you bought it and 20 years from now. So it will continue to look good. Also too, our team that we brought in, our painter, we actually, well, let's just say we stole him from Red Bull Formula One painting, and that's our painter. So the quality of work on the paint is superior. And when you see it in person, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. The next reason that Helderbergs are so expensive is because we're not doing crate motors. We could save a lot of money and a lot of time and move through our builds much faster if we were to buy a Corvette LS3 or a Cummins diesel, because they would ship that motor to us in a crate, on a crate, in a box, and all we would have to do is snap it out and drop it in. Instead, we're keeping all of the numbers matching. We're using the original motor, like a 300 TDI or a TD5, but we're highly modifying it. And by us doing that, keeping that original configuration, what we're doing is we're creating a truck that's not known as a Franken truck. So anytime you start putting a Corvette motor or a Cummins motor, swapping stuff into the vehicle that was never there originally, that's called a Franken truck. So to give you an analogy of that, if you were to buy, let's say, to get a nice watch, a classic watch, like a Rolex, and you were to open up the back and it doesn't have that original Rolex mechanical in it, then it's not worth anything. It's a Franken watch. And the same thing goes for a Helderburg Defender, that we don't do anything Frankenstein. It's the original configuration, but it's highly modified. So that's why a Helderberg is considered a resto mod. But my main focus is, how do we build a vehicle that will continue to appreciate in value, continue to go up in value versus a depreciation. And whenever you start Frankensteining a vehicle, regardless of what it is, that collectible value is going to go down. Hence, I mean, yeah, sure, fine. It could be a lot of fun to drive because it makes all those exhaust notes and it's really fast and makes a lot of noise going down the road, but long-term investment's not going to be there. And then I also kind of scratch my head too, going, why would I put a 500 horsepower or 700 horsepower motor in a vehicle that does not have airbags, ABS brakes, traction control? I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. And if I want to go fast, I'm going to drive a sports car. So I'm going to leave it with that. The next reason that Helderbergs are so expensive is because the parts that we are doing, like the cylinder head, the injection pump, the exhaust system, those are all custom fabricated. So what I mean by that is we found that the best companies in the world, or not really companies, but individuals in the world, to make our cylinder head. It's milled from a solid block of aluminum. But we found the weaknesses of a Land Rover Defender and we fixed all of those weaknesses. So the cylinder block, custom made. The injection pump is custom modified. The injection pump is what's powering that diesel motor. It's sending the diesel fuel and all that, but I won't get into the specifics, but it's custom made. The exhaust system, full stainless steel, custom made. The seats inside of a Defender, I know I'm hopping, but I want to keep this going. But the seats inside of a Helderburg, you can just look at the leather and the stitching and how perfect the lines are. You can look at the seat frames and see not every seat frame is identical because each seat frame is built specifically to the driver. You can see that the steering wheels are handmade. It's custom made, hand carved wood, and then the aluminum, whether it's a polished or a black aluminum, has been milled. So all of these parts that are going into a Helderburg are custom made. Even the glass, the windshield and the side windows, custom made. And we do a thicker glass than what you'll see on some other Defenders. And what that really means to you with the thicker glass is it's better insulating factor. So whether you're in a cold environment or a hot environment, it's going to help you keep that air conditioning or that heat inside the vehicle. And it's also going to make the cabin quieter. The sound deadening that we do to the Helderburg is superior. I mean, we're doing spray-on sound deadening, spray-on insulation, and then we're doing multiple layers of butyl rubber and then foam. So the care and the attention to detail that goes into a Helderburg is superior than what you've seen on other Defenders. If you look at all of the bolts and the nuts, they're all the proper size and they're also the proper material. And they are also, I mean, whenever we can hide them, we hide them. And even, I mean, we get so anal. If you look at the pictures on our website and the bolts, on the bolt pattern of the steering wheel, the outside, you'll notice all of the bolts are lined up perfectly, lining to one another. So we're taking a care and consideration in doing the build. And probably the biggest thing why Helderburgs are so expensive is the amount of hours that we're putting into them, the amount of love. A Helderburg typically takes around 3,000 hours to build because we're taking it all the way down to the frame and then we're building it all the way back up. So you have to think, how much would you want to make if you were spending 3,000 hours of banging your knuckles and cutting your hands to build something, and it's a passion? And that's the next point. Why are they so expensive? Because it's not really a business for me where I'm just trying to sell a lot of Defenders. In fact, I see a number of builders brag about how many Defenders that they've built. And I don't brag about how many I build, but I brag about the quality of each individual one. So it's not the quantity, but it's the quality of the build. And if you see a Helderburg in person, you will clearly understand why they are more expensive than the other builders. I hope you found this video helpful. And if you see anybody on social media trying to say, oh, that doesn't make sense, now you know why. And maybe they don't know, but that's okay. We'll remain positive about it. That's fine. They just don't understand it. So I want to say this video was brought to you by Filson again. They sent the jacket, the pants, the belt, just quick cut the leaks. Go see if it's a style that you like. I just think it's cool clothing. That's all there is to it.